Your brain is not broken. It's just running software designed for a world that no longer exists. For 200,000 years, humans evolved to survive, to avoid predators, find food, and stay in their tribe. The financial system we live in today, that's been around for maybe 400 years. The stock market, credit cards, subscription services, mortgages, these are not things your brain was built to process. And the mismatch between your ancient wiring and the modern economy is costing you thousands of dollars every year. Today, we're going to look at 5 specific cognitive biases. These are not personality flaws, not moral failures, not laziness. They are hardwired features of human cognition that made sense on the savannah and make zero sense when you're trying to build wealth in the 21st century. The reason I want to walk through all 5 together is that they don't operate in isolation. They stack. They reinforce each other. And once you can see the pattern, you'll start recognizing them in real time, which is the only way to actually fight them. Let's go. In 1974, psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman ran an experiment. They spun a rigged wheel that landed on either 10 or 65, then asked subjects to estimate what percentage of African countries were in the United Nations. The people who saw 65 guessed much higher than people who saw 10, even though the wheel was obviously random. That study launched the field of behavioral economics. The insight? The first number you encounter in any decision becomes an anchor that warps every number that comes after it. You see this everywhere in personal finance. A car dealership posts a sticker price of $45,000. You negotiate down to $38,000 and feel like you won. You didn't win. You just accepted their anchor. That car may have been worth $35,000 all along. Salary negotiations work the same way. Research by Columbia Business School professor Adam Galinsky shows that whoever makes the first offer in a salary negotiation has a measurable advantage. The first number sets the gravitational center of the conversation. Everything else orbits it. Here's what makes anchoring particularly insidious. Awareness doesn't cure it. In multiple studies, even people who were explicitly told about the anchoring effect were still influenced by irrelevant numbers. Knowing the trick doesn't turn it off. What actually helps? Generating your own anchor before entering any negotiation. Research comparable sales, look up fair market value, and set your mental reference point before someone else sets it for you. The person who anchors first controls the deal. Make sure that person is you. Here's a question. You bought a $120 concert ticket 3 months ago. The day of the concert, you feel terrible. You're exhausted. It's raining. The band honestly isn't even your favorite anymore. You'd clearly rather stay home, but you already paid for the ticket. What do? Most people go to the concert. And that, right there, is the sunk cost fallacy. A sunk cost is money already spent that cannot be recovered. Economically, it is completely irrelevant to any future decision you make. The 120 is gone whether you go or not. The rational question is, would I rather go to a concert I don't want to attend or stay home? Not, I spent $120 so I have to go. But your brain doesn't work that way. Loss aversion, which we'll get to in a minute, makes you desperately want to get your money's worth. And so you make present tense decisions based on past costs that literally cannot be changed. In investing, this looks like holding a losing stock far too long because you bought it at $80 and it's now at $40. And selling means locking in the loss. But the loss is already locked in. The question is only what that stock is likely to do from here. The price you paid is a ghost. It doesn't affect future performance. I want to add a nuance here that most videos skip. Sunk cost thinking isn't always irrational. Research in organizational behavior suggests it can signal commitment and trustworthiness in social contexts. A partner who abandons a project the moment it gets hard may not be someone you want in your corner. The problem is when sunk cost thinking bleeds into financial decisions where commitment has no value, and only clear-eyed calculation does. The fix is a simple reframe. If I were starting fresh today, knowing what I know now, would I make this investment? If the answer is no, the sunk cost is irrelevant. Act accordingly. Tversky and Kahneman again, this time in 1979, published what became known as prospect theory. The finding: people feel the pain of a loss roughly twice as intensely as they feel the pleasure of an equivalent gain. Losing 100 hurts about as much as winning 200 feels good. The pain of loss is not equal and opposite to the pleasure of gain. It's asymmetric. This has enormous consequences for personal finance. It's why people keep emergency funds in a savings account earning 0.01% instead of moving it to a high-yield account. They're afraid of the small chance that moving money could result in any kind of loss. It's why investors sell winners too early and hold losers too long. Selling a winner locks in a gain, while selling a loser locks in a loss that feels devastating. And it's why sales work so well framed as "don't miss out" rather than "here's what you'll gain." FOMO is loss aversion in marketing form. Here's the editorial angle I want to make. The financial industry is not neutral on this bias. It is deliberately exploited. Every limited time offer, every only 3 left in stock, every market commentary that tells you to fear a correction, these are engineered to activate your loss aversion and override your long-term thinking. The defense isn't to stop feeling. It's to build systems that don't rely on your feelings. Automate your investments. Set rules in advance. Decide before the market moves what you'll do if it drops 20%. If you make that decision in the calm before the storm, you're using the prefrontal cortex. If you make it at 2 a.m. watching your portfolio drop, you're in the grip of your amygdala. That's a battle you'll lose. In 2017, Bitcoin crossed 10,000 for the first time. The coverage was breathless. Your coworker was talking about it. Your cousin was talking about it. Your barber was asking you if he should put his savings in it. By December of that year, Bitcoin had reached nearly 20,000. By December of 2018, it was below 3,500. The people who bought at the top weren't stupid. They were exhibiting what psychologists call the bandwagon effect, the tendency to adopt beliefs and behaviors because other people around you are doing the same. It's a deeply social instinct, rooted in the same tribal logic we talked about at the start. In a small community, if everyone is running in one direction, following the crowd is probably a good survival strategy. In a financial market, it is often the exact wrong thing to do. The bandwagon effect shows up beyond cryptocurrency. It's in the mutual fund that gets hot right before it regresses to the mean. It's in the housing markets people pile into because real estate always goes up. It's in the hot restaurant you spend $200 at because your social circle is going, not because you evaluated the value. What makes this bias particularly hard to fight is that the crowd is occasionally right. Bull markets can run for years. Sometimes the bandwagon is heading somewhere real. The issue is that bandwagon investing is a performance measure that's always backward-looking. You're responding to what already happened, and by the time the crowd arrives, the best returns are usually behind you. Warren Buffett's famous line, "Be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful." That is not a personality trait. It is a disciplined, practiced, deliberate override of a very normal human bias. Most people can't do it because it feels deeply wrong. Your job is to build systems and frameworks that can do it even when it feels wrong. Ask someone, would you rather have $100 today or $100,000 in a week? Most people take the $100 today, even though a 10% return in a week would be extraordinary. Now ask, would you rather have $100 in a year or $110 in a year and a week? Suddenly, most people are willing to wait the extra week for $110. The same trade, 1 year out, and people make the opposite choice. This is present bias, the tendency to dramatically overweight rewards that are immediate and underweight rewards that are in the future. The future doesn't feel as real as the present. Future you is practically a stranger. In financial terms, this means you'll spend $8 on a coffee today and delay contributing to your 401k. You'll take the vacation on credit and tell yourself you'll pay it off later. You'll kick the financial audit, the will, the beneficiary update, all of it, to a future that never quite arrives. The research on this is consistent and sobering. Hal Hirschfield at UCLA did a series of studies where he showed people digitally aged versions of their future selves. After seeing their older face, people were significantly more likely to allocate money to retirement savings. The visual cue made future you feel more like a real person, and that reduced present bias. Here's my editorial take. The modern economy is specifically designed to exploit present bias. One-click purchasing removes every friction point. Buy now, pay later removes the most important one, the immediate cost. Every feature of digital commerce is optimized to make the reward feel more present and the cost feel more distant. The antidote is automation and commitment devices. If you have to actively choose every month to not save money, present bias will win. If you set up automatic transfers the day after payday, you never experience the present tense temptation. You're essentially outsmarting your present self on behalf of your future self. Hal Hershfield calls this thinking like a steward, treating your future financial state as something you have a responsibility to protect, not just a vague preference for. Let's pull this together. 5 biases, all hardwired, all exploited daily by the financial and marketing industry. Anchoring. The first number shapes every number that follows. Counter it by setting your own reference point first. Sunk cost. Past spending is gone and has no bearing on present decisions. When you're stuck, ask, would I start here today? Loss aversion. Losses hit twice as hard as gains feel good. Automate and systematize so your feelings don't run the show. Bandwagon effect. The crowd is usually late. By the time everyone's excited, the easy money is gone. Build a framework and follow it, not the noise. Present bias. The future doesn't feel real, so you trade it cheaply. Automate savings to make the right decision without having to feel it. Here's the thing I want you to leave with. Awareness of these biases is the start, not the finish line. Every person who has ever panic sold in a market crash knew on some level that panic selling was a bad idea. Knowing isn't enough. You have to build systems, habits, and rules that work even when your brain is being hijacked. That is what this channel is about. Not hustle, not shame, not willpower. Understanding how your mind actually works, and then designing your financial life around it. Next Thursday, we're going to go deeper on one of the most expensive biases on this list, anchoring. Specifically, how it's used in salary negotiations, car dealerships, and real estate, and the step-by-step framework to flip the anchor in your favor. If this video changed how you think about one financial decision, that is a win worth something. Subscribe, and I'll see you Thursday.